Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ricardo Bosi, National Leader of Australia One. Today is Wednesday, the 21st of August, 2024. And thanks for joining us tonight on this Green Room Extra. We've got our favourite ex-communist, now man of God, Commo John Wilson, and he's going to give us an update. There's been a few developments that we believe that you probably need to hear about direct from the horse's mouth. So let's bring John in. Are you there, John?
Good morning. Good evening. How are you, Rick?
Week. John, always good to see you, mate.
Yeah. It's been lots and lots of things have been unraveling in my little world over the last week, Rick.
Well, I'll tell you what, as usual, I'm going to now just sit back quietly, let you give us your cold analysis of what's going on. The people need to understand those the shifts in the tectonic plates as they move around. There's the headline sort of articles, but then the stuff in the background is what really gives the people an ability to understand what's coming next. So, John, over to you, my friend. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. I'll try and be as succinct and as accurate as I can. But as you know, I can only communicate by telling stories. Okay, I'm a storyteller. I'm not an academic reporter. I don't do business that way. Let me tell you this little story, ladies and gentlemen. Look, there's a little township a couple of hours west of Brisbane. Right, it's in one of the most beautiful farming communities. And it's called Buona, Boon for Nelly, AH. Okay, Buona, right? Okay. Now, Buona is a great community, and in fact, it's a community where my extended family have lived and worked and farmed for over 100 years in Buona. I mean, my cousins have worked in the Buona aged care up there and have made a great contribution to the local community over, decades and decades and decades. Okay. Now, the Buona community, largely based upon the Buona church, whatever the denomination is, I'm non-denomination, right, as you know, right? But this group, largely based upon the Buona church, contacted me and said, look, John, we want you to come out to Buona and have a community meeting out here. There's a lot of us out here, and we want to, sit down and have a talk about the national strike and also the Freedom Union. I said, yeah, sure. It's a couple of hours. It's not a problem. If you can, get the venue and, get a date, time, venue, all the usual stuff, and give that to me, I'll pass that on to our NSA artwork team, and they can do you up a promotional flyer, send it back out to you, and then you can just distribute it. But it's your event. I'm invited. I'll go, etc., etc. Now, that was planned, advertised, and executed exactly as I described to you, and they had all the promotional gear and then started putting it out there. Now, the first thing happened was over on Facebook. Okay, they've got a Buona community page over there, and they put the promotional flyers up on the Facebook channel to promote it and ask people, look, come along and let's ask some questions and let's hear what John says, etc., etc. Now, it was immediately by the administrators. Now, we've got the woman's name who pulled it down. We've got her name, right? Okay, who pulled it down. We know who she is. The administrator pulled it down, and then put up an old defamatory ABC report about me when I went to court over a stitch-up job at the Cleveland Magistrates Court involving me and a Victorian cross parliamentary bencher called Fiona Patton. Okay, she put that up and said, "Look at what this bloke. Look at who he is. I mean, he's terrorised. He's terrorised this woman in Melbourne who's a parliamentarian, etc., etc." Okay. Now, let me just explain a couple of things. At no stage did I, have terrorised anyone. I tried to warn this woman. This woman, Fiona Patton, right? I said, Fiona, if you side with Daniel Andrews and you inflict this pain, and these beatings and all this bloody, police brutality and all that upon the people of Melbourne and the people of Victoria. I said, when this war's over, darling, when this war's over, right, you're going to have your head shaved, mate, and you're going to be dragged up the street naked, just like they did in Paris after World War II with the Nazi collaborators. Now, I'm serious. It wasn't a threat. I'm trying to warn her. I'm trying, don't do it. Don't jump into bed. Because I knew this woman. I knew her. She was a hooker, a prostitute in Canberra when I was I was the president of Trades Hall. And she was a prostitute in the legal brothels, this Fiona Patton. She got together with a bunch of other women and into this group called WISE, W-I-S-E, and it's called Women in Sex Employment, right? So they come and saw me, and I'm the big dick swinger fucking Trades Hall president. Said, listen, Commo John, we've got real problems in these brothels. I said, what's the problem? They said, man, the beds are fucked. They're full of lice, all this shit. The kitchenettes are rooted. We can't eat, we can't cook, we can't make cups of tea. The showers are rat shit. They've got mold and everything in it. And we're getting belted up. We're getting belted up, by clients. And the brothel owners won't do anything. I said, well, that's a bit unfair. That's a bit unfair. That's not right. And some of the women that were with Fiona Patton were single mums. I mean, they had a couple of kids and they were just trying to get along, And so I took them under my wing and I said, look, we'll fix this. We'll get it fixed. Okay, that's not a problem. We can fix it. So I grabbed the Trades Hall health and safety dude, big muscly dude. I said, right, have I got a job for you? Get over and do, because under the law, under the OH&S Act and everything else, right, we had the unions with a lot of power, lots of power. So I sent him over to Fishwick. I sent him up to Belconnen. I said, go over there and write them all up a hazard report and put them all on notice and let them know while you're there that Commo John, that one, remind them of this. One, they have to have a license, because they're all licensed and all legal, right? The minister and the law says you've got to be of good character. And you can't be knocking people around and all that, and let them know that Commo John has a good friendship with the Attorney General Terry Connolly, and let them know I'll pull their fucking licenses if they want to give us any shit. So off it went. Anyway, subsequently, all the whorehouses, these fucking whorehouses down in Canberra were fixed up. And they really cleaned them up. It was good work. And then I said to them, right, girls, line them up. You should have seen me, mate. I looked like I had a fucking harem, right? Had 100-odd women there, right? And I said, right, okay. Now, I want to give you some extra protections, right? I want to give you extra protections under the ACT Workers' Compensation Act. I want to get you named, amended. I'll get the Workers' Compensation Act amended, right, to include prostitutions, right, licensed prostitution, right, that if you get injured at work in any way, shape or form, if some violent guy comes in and hurts you or anything, or if you fall down the stairs and you can't work, right, you can't turn tricks, right, can't feed your kids, I will get you covered by workers' comp on one condition. I said, what's that? I said, you got to join a union. You've got to join a union. I'm not doing it for nothing, right? You've got to come and join it. I said, no problem. Workers' compensation, you beauty. Which union do we join? So I ended up getting them all to join en masse the Transport Workers Union. They said to me, well, we're not truckers and that. I said, no, but you're general carriers. You're general carriers and you can fit under the TWU, Transport Workers Union of Australian rules. Okay. So they joined en masse. She moved to Melbourne, right? She moved to Melbourne after that. She ended up being elected to Parliament, her and her partner, Robbie Swan. Robbie Swan owned a lot of X-rated sex shops in Canberra. I mean, he was a real kinky dude, this Robbie Swan. Now, I didn't know this at the time, I didn't know any of this, but I subsequently found out that Fiona Patton is a Satanist, a really committed satanic practitioner. She's also an occultist, and she regularly practiced in the occult and the dark arts, and so does her husband, Robbie Swan. That's the debrief that I've got from people who I know and trust and who know these people. And she's also and this has been said publicly, right, by the Noosa up here in Queensland, the Noosa Satanic Church, right, that they love and they laud Fiona Patton because she's one of theirs. She's a Satanist. So the person on Facebook, this admin person, right, you must understand, right, has sided to attack me and, you know, blacken my name and all that sort of stuff, and at the same time promote and idealize, right, this Fiona Patton, who is a Satanist, who is an occultist. You get me? And that's going to be important. It's going to be important. Okay. So anyway, this happened on Facebook. Now, the women said, look, okay, we're just going to push on with it, mate. We'll go around town, door knocking, hand them out, blah, blah, blah. And subsequently, they got a big response. A lot of the locals said, yeah. I mean, you know, we know the Windolphs, my cousins and uncles and aunties and all that, right? They're held in high regard. We know the Windolphs and we've heard a bit about Commo John. Yep, we'd love to go and meet at the local venue. There's a hotel or whatever there, and meet there, which is what they normally do. That's the normal meeting place. I mean, a couple of weeks beforehand, Malcolm Roberts from One Nation was up there doing exactly the same thing, right? Exactly the same thing, okay, in Buona. Now, as the day started to draw near, the same person on Facebook, the same person, again, we got this woman's name, she contacted both the Buona police, the local Buona police, and said that I and the National Strike Australia. Now, this is all off the back of Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton and all these other political maggots, right, who are all encouraging people to ring up and dob in and everything. Well, this person has taken advantage of that invitation to make some really unfounded allegations about me, the NSA, and also these women who were organising it. She's called us all terrorists and said, listen, we got to get rid of this bloke. We can't have him coming up the Buona. He's a fucking terrorist. So the local copper comes down to the venue owner and says, you can't have this event. She said, why not? I'm a business person. I'm going to make money. I mean, you know, this guy's no different than Malcolm Roberts and no different than Pauline Hanson was up there doing this shit. Why can't I have him? And he said, no, he's a terrorist. He's a terrorist and he's on a watch list and all this sort of stuff. So the venue owner, a woman, and she said, okay, well, what can I do? I'll have to cancel. I'll contact the local group, this church group up there, and tell them we can't proceed with it, right? Now, the church, the women in this church group fully understood. They didn't push it. They didn't protest at all. They knew that this other woman who owned the hotel and all that sort of stuff was not doing it because she wanted to, but she was being forced to. Okay. Now, Rick, what's then gone on is this, right? Okay. That one of the women who organised, put it all together out of the local church and well-known, etc., right? Two police officers from what I believe to be the Special Investigations Unit, right? They refused to give what division or you know their rank and all that stuff to identify. They flashed their badge real quick, put them away, all this sort of stuff, right? But they went round to this woman's house, and her husband was there, and they said, "We want to talk to your wife. She's organised this event, and blah 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 blah." And her husband was, "Well, she's not here. She doesn't. She comes and goes as she bloody please." And they said, "Well, we've got a phone number. We're going to ring her up. We're going to go and talk to her." So he said, "Well, I can't do anything about that, can I?" Now, as soon as they left, he rang his wife up and said, "Listen, there's two coppers, mate, from some unit up here asking for you." And she said, "Oh, okay, righto." Anyway, as soon as he hung up, a phone number rang up, and it was, a private number. So she answered it. And this allegedly a police officer on the other end said, "Hi, my name is so-and-so, so-and-so. I want to have a talk to you about John Wilson and the National Strike Australia." So she said, "Okay, I'll meet you at the Buona police station. I'll go there." Now she rocked up at the Buona police station, which was closed, but they were outside, right? So she got out, and two coppers accosted her, and they said, "Right, we want to the same old jurisdiction shit. Confirm your name, all in capital letters, all the usual bullshit, right? Okay." So they do all that. Then they started to question her about the NSA, the National Strike Australia, and John Wilson, right? Has John Wilson ever promoted, violence, terrorism, all this sort of nonsense, right? And of course they answered bullshit. It's just crap. And have they met John Wilson personally? He said, yes, we met. We went down in Sydney, and we met him in Sydney. He was at an event down there, blah, blah, blah. And they went through all of this sort of stuff. But they really took these two cops on and said, listen, this is bullshit, mate. This is bullshit. He's never promoted any terror. He's never promoted any violence or anything else. He said, but has he promoted tipping this government out and all this sort of stuff? You know what I mean? Trying to get down the track of how would you say, treason and all the rest of it, right? Okay. And she's just denied it and told it bullshit. Then they started to question her about her guns, because she's a gun owner. Then her husband is a gun owner. Then they questioned her about, how's her mental health and all this sort of shit, I mean, this is cops. This isn't a psychiatrist, man. These are cops. These are dirty, stinking cops. So, anyway, she's done that. She's written up her notes after, come back home, contacted me and sent me some notes. And I've had a talk to her. I mean, very upset, right? But the event's been cancelled. And I just want to point out to people, to all the audience out there, listen, this is the Freemasons. This is the Freemasons, right? The Freemasons own all these cops, mate, all over Australia. All over Australia. They own the state-based police forces. They never used to own the AFP, the Australian Federal Police. They never used to, right? They do now. Right? Okay. Now, this is the Freemasons at work, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure that Como John or anyone that's not controlled opposition, that is not controlled opposition, right, to be able to go out into their territory, right, and to access any local people. This is them cutting it off, right, and making a play. So that's number one. Number two, I think the woman involved is a One Nation operative. I think she's a Pauline Hanson, One Nation operative, okay? So what you're now seeing is the Freemasons, right, using their law enforcement power, right, okay, to go in and really intimidate local business people, right, not to allow any sort of information, any sort of discussion, any sort of outsider to come in and bring information out into the public. And they shut it down. This is how they operate, ladies and gentlemen. And what's now clear to me is Pauline Hanson, One Nation, Malcolm Roberts, Babbage, right, and all the rest of this coalition, right, are now closing ranks. They know that this national strike and the subsequent Freedom Union, which is being launched out of the national strike, right, is real, and it's got a lot of support, and the rubber is hitting the road, and they have to shut this down. They have to shut this down. Now, primarily, but like their big picture stuff, Rick, is to put me in jail, arrest me, and get me out off the scene. If they do that, they're going to do a lot of damage to this strike and a lot of damage to the Freedom Union. That's just a fact. Because I don't like blowing smoke up my own ass, but there's no one with my pedigree and experience at doing this. I wish there was, but there isn't. So if they can get me off the streets and lock me up, you've got to understand right, it's going to do a lot of damage. That's going to be their primary goal, okay? Got to understand the Freemasons own all the magistrates' court, right? All of them are all Freemasons, right? They're all baby raping Freemasons, right? So all they got to do is stitch me up with something, get me in a police station, get me before a magistrate. I'm finished. Now, I've already been there. 4 years ago, Rick, and you interviewed me with this, right? You were the only one, right? All these other clowns, all these other pissants out there, right, who, Monica Schmidt with her bullshit, which I think is fake, all that crap, Aussie Cossack and all the rest of these fucking clowns out there, right? They all, they're still milking it for everything it's worth. I mean, come on, John goes to court, mate. They wanted to jail me for 2 years. They were deadly serious, mate. I was gone. If it wasn't for a couple of old communist sort of tactics that I still have up my sleeve. Jesus, I don't know how I got out of it. But they wanted me locked away for 2 years over a Facebook post. So, Rick, what you're seeing the Freemasons mobilised. They're losing control. They are losing control, right? They're losing control, and they've got to make sure that Como John, right, cannot get access out on the ground. And they're using their bent cops, their corrupt cops, right, to do their dirty work for them, to frighten the shit out of local businesses, right, not to offer any sort of venue or any assistance whatsoever. Okay. Now, you've got to look at the two that, Rick, you've seen what's going down in Great Britain at the moment, right? It's live. You can see it, right? You can see the two-tier policing between the constabulary and the courts, right? And how they treat patriots, how they treat mums and dads who are sick of their daughters being raped, sick of their sons being murdered, right? If they open their mouth, they lock them away. They just lock them away, mate. They're gone into the Old Bailey and they're out. They're in jail, right? But yet the rapists, the murderers and the rapists, right, and the invaders that come over and do all this damage, right, aren't touched. In fact, they're protected. Go to Ireland, look at London. You can see it all over the place, mate. And we have got that here in Australia. Now, we don't have the massive crowds and all the other examples. It's not in your face like it is over in England and Ireland and the UK at the moment. It's not as bad as that, but it is here. We have two tiers of policing here, mate. The cops in Queensland and the other states, right, are persecuting, right? They are weaponising, right, laws, right, which are not meant to be applied in the way that they are weaponising us against us, people like me, people like you, Rick, people like other activists out there, and they're trying to get them jailed, right? They're trying to get them jailed while their friends, their Freemason mates in the Freedom Union run free, do what they like. There's no threats, mate. There's no threats to Graham Hood. There's no threats to any of these other clowns out there, mate. None whatsoever. These guys are just doing what they like. The threat against Monica Schmidt was staged. It was bullshit. It was a bit, I mean, if anyone can't see that, and she's still trying to milk it. She's in court now trying to milk it for everything it's worth. Oh, my God. It's like a sons and daughters episode. So, Rick, they're going to try and shut me down. They're going to try and shut the Freedom Union down. They're going to try and shut the national strike. And what they're going to try and do is they're going to try and deem us to be sovereign citizens. That's going to be their tactic, right? Oh, no, they're sovereign. No, we're not, mate. We are not sovereign citizens. We are a union. We're a union. And we're taking industrial action. That's what we are. We're not sovereign citizens. Cut your bullshit out. But this is what they're going to try and do. Oh, Como John, he's a sovereign citizen. I don't know even how to spell sovereign citizen. I have no idea what a sovereign citizen is. And I've never claimed to be one. But for 40 years, I know what a union is and I know what a strike is. You get me? So that's what I am. I'm a unionist and I like taking strike actions against a belligerent occupation. That's it. Pretty simple to me. Now, the Freemasons are going to shut this down. You watch them. They know they're losing ground, Rick. They know. The intel coming back to me is they have big splits inside the Freemasons, mate. Big splits are inside the Freemasons, mate. I am telling you right now, there's a lot of Freemasons out there, mate, that all got the jab. They were useless eaters to the upper echelons, right? Including these two dumb cops that went out to Buona. These two idiots from the Special Investigations Unit or whatever they were, right? They asked this lady, oh, you lost your job and everything else, She said, as a teacher's aide, she said, yeah, I did because I wouldn't get vaxxed. And if I didn't, they were going to sack me. And they said, yeah, they were going to do it to us too. So we went and all got vaxxed. So that's the cops. They're finding out that they're Freemason lord and masters, right, threw them to the wolves. They threw them under the bus. And their union, the Queensland Police Union, like all the others, Ian Levers and all of his dodgy, corrupt mates, right, they didn't get the vax. None of them took the vax. They were all exempted, but they sold every single member, their police union members, out. This is how dumb these cops are, Rick. They are, I can't believe how stupid they are. They are amongst the most densest, dumbest class of people I've even seen, mate. I don't know how they survive. They're paying money to a police union and beating us up, putting guns at us, dogs, all the rest of it. We're trying to save their lives and save their fucking families' lives. And then they charge and beat us up. I can't believe it. I mean, talk about, not acting in your own self-interest. This is unbelievable. But they're now finding this out. I mean, the only thing that gives me solace, Rick, in all of this with these cops, mate, is that they possibly helped murder several thousand or many thousands of Australians, right, who are dying because of this fact. The only thing that gives me any solace is that a lot of them are going to die as well. A lot of them are going to die a horrible death as well. I hate saying it, mate. I hate saying it because I'm supposed to be a Christian now, but I'm only a newbie and I'm not a good one, right? So they helped mass murder, thousands and thousands of my Australian brothers and sisters, mate. And the only consolation I get out of it, this is how sick of mind I am with all of this. The only consolation I know is that they themselves are going to die horrible deaths as well. Look, Rick, they are at war. This belligerent occupation, all these cops, they're at war with us. They're at war with us. It's a full-scale, a psychological war that they are backing up, participating and playing a big role, a full-scale, a poison war with all these vaccines and chemtrails and all this other shit they're doing to us, mate. They are at war against us, and we are at peace. We are not at war. We want to be peaceful. We just want to be left alone. We are not at war with them. I mean, if we were, go over to England and have a look what's going on in the streets over there with burning and there's none of that going on here. None of it going on here in Australia by the Australian people, and I'm not supporting it. And I'll tell you why I'm not supporting it, Rick. Look, I'm not telling you anything, brother. You know this shit back to front, just like me. I'm born into this, right? Look, the Freemasons, they can't get what they want unless this reset, they get order out of chaos. Order out of chaos. That's how they get their reset. They need chaos. Over in England, right at the moment, mate, you've got chaos on the streets, mate. They need it here in Australia as well. Now, the other one is problem, reaction, solution. This is their mantra. I'm not telling you things you don't know and the audience don't know. This is 101 shit. Now, they can't get, in Australia at the moment, they can't get their chaos. They can't. They tried to bait me early days, and this is why I question Darren Bergworth and Carl Leibolds, who they're hanging out with, because they went public. They went public on Voice of Freedom, made public statement. Then they contacted me privately. I've got all of this in writing, emails. I have put this up in a report on my social media. They wanted me to hook up with some person out west of Brisbane, out at on the Western Downs, right? Okay, and this person wanted to tip trucks over, set them on fire, and block cities off, and all this. I said, what? I mean, that's a Freemason tactic. That's a Freemason 101 tactic. And Bergworth and Leibold are trying to get me to choke it down. Oh, my God. I mean, how stupid do they think I am? I'm serious, man. Don't insult my intelligence. I mean, I'm born into this shit. I know it back to front. Don't try and snow me with some lunatic trying to pull on a Freemasonic tactic. They need chaos. And I'm telling you now, Rick, I'm telling you now, if we don't get this fucking union up and running, they're going to get chaos. They're going to get it. They want chaos. They want it. They're doing everything they can, mate, to stir the population up and to enrage the population. If it's not digital coins, it's something else. If it's not this, it's gay trannies and cross-dressing man bears in libraries. And if it's not that, it's other shit. They never stop, and they're not going to stop. They're not. They're going to keep ramping it up until the Australian population cracks. And once they crack, you get chaos. And as soon as they get chaos, you're going to get the Freemasons hold themselves out as the solution. Problem, reaction, solution. They will hold themselves out. Now, I'm telling you now, Rick, I'm telling you. Again, I'm a local. I've been fighting these pissant Freemasons, me and my old commos up here, mate, and around Australia. We've been fighting them for 100 years. We've been fighting these same pissants for 100 years, mate. You got no idea. I know them back to front, Rick. I know them back to front. None of their shit, mate, goes past me. They need chaos, and they're going to try and generate. They're going to try and spark that off. They tried to suck me into it, right, with two of their fucking Freemasonic operatives, right, in Bergworth and bloody Leibold. They're all in the game. Look, they're running cover. Look, Pauline Hanson, Malcolm Roberts, Babbage, right? Babbage. Who else have we got? That other clown, Kelly, right? And all of that group, all of that Australian Council of Alliance, the Lion Council of Australia, whatever they call themselves, right? That's the Freemasons, right? Regrouped. They're the Freemasons and their operatives, right? Their shills and everything. They've regrouped. They've reorganised themselves, right? And I'm going to tell you why. They see everything that we see, Rick. They see all of our research. They watch the Green Room. They're going to watch this one. There's probably just as many of them watch this than what our people watch this. You understand? Okay. They know what's coming. They know that this belligerent occupation is going to get tipped out on its ass. They know they've lost the war. They know this, right? They know there's going to be military intervention, and it's going to be American-led, but involve the whole world. They know it, right? Okay. Now, what they're trying to do, mate, is they're trying to front run it. They say, shit, we're gonna lose everything here. We're gonna lose everything, right? Okay. The military are gonna come in and take it all off them, all their power, all their privilege, all their ill-gotten gains. They're gonna lose it, Rick. It's all going to be taken off them by the military when the military. And for those people who don't think there's military, I mean, you know, we can't show you any more evidence, mate. We can't help it if you're just a blind fool. We can't help that, right? Piss off and go and look at the other idiots out there and follow them. Get away from me, mate, because I've got no tolerance for clowns. All right. They know this reset is coming, and they know it's not a Klaus Schwab reset. They know it's a Donald Trump reset, right? And what they're now doing is they're trying to front run this reset, mate, so that they, when they get everything taken off them, right, all their power, all their privilege, all their ill-gotten gains, After the military come here, that's what's going to happen. But the military is not a permanent feature here. They're going to come, they're going to go under the law of war manual for 6 months, 12 months, I don't know, but a period. And then they're going to get out. They're going to go. They're not here to run the country. We know that, Rick. We know that. It's then that the Freemasons are reorganising. As soon as the military go and the law of war manual stop, they move in to take back every single thing that was taken off them. That's what they're doing. They're getting themselves organised. They know that it's all going to be taken off them. They're getting themselves regrouped, reorganised to take it all fucking back. And the Australian public, right, are going to give it to them. They'll give it to them. The Australian public, as they now are, and I'm hoping they wise up, right? The Australian public, mate, they will give it all back to them. That's how silly, ignorant, stupid this public is. I wouldn't have believed that 5 years ago, but since Corona, I believe it, mate. They will give it straight back to them, mate. That's what they're going to do. Now, the only thing that's going to stand in their way, Rick, okay, out there that I can see is you and me. That's it. That's it. I don't see anyone else out there that's got a faint hope against this machine, okay? They know that this union, they don't know. I know, mate. I've smashed government after government after government, mate. I have belted ministers. I have Department of Defence, mate. Listen, Rick. I've had the heavy generals in the Department of Defence try to dick me around. Right? We got into there's a big air conditioning on their mainframe computer down at Parks, the suburb of Parks, all underground. Blah blah blah. But if that air conditioning turns off, it means the computer overheats and shuts it all down. Well, guess who went and turned it off? It was Colmo John. I shut down the entire Department of Defence, mate, just for them, just to show them how much power I had. Up at Russell Hill, at the back of Russell Hill, there's big boilers up there, right? And they go under the road, they go into the buildings, right? They keep all those defence buildings heated. In the middle of winter, -7 degrees. I got the boys to switch them off. They didn't switch the board, they just isolated. Boys had to stay. They're a pressure vessel. They're a bomb. If you leave them unattended, they're a bomb. So my union members had to stay there for safety. They got paid, but no heating went into the building. In 48 hours, mate, every single one of those buildings went down to 0 degrees. And after 3 days, the Defence Department sent every civilian home. They couldn't work. And they kept all these idiot defence bureaucrats in there with their trench coats. They looked like they were on. They were in the middle of the Somme in the middle of winter in the trenches, sitting at their things with these big trench coats doing all that. This union, mate. This union. I'm telling you now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to make sure these Freemasons don't take it back off you, mate, you better get behind this union. If you don't, I'm just going to give it all back to you, mate. I'm just going to say, there you go. Fuck the lot of yous, mate. I'm going on holiday. You go and deal with them. Because this is my last shot, Rick. I've got one more war left in me. This is it, mate. This is it. I'm 64, mate. I know you're 64. We're only a few weeks apart, right? This is it. If the Australian people are not going to get up and fight, and I'm going to give them this opportunity, right? If they don't, then I'm going to throw them all to the fucking wolves, mate. There's nothing more I can do. This is their opportunity to stand up and join a union and to help me take it all off these bastards. If they won't do it, that's it. It's, what else? What more can I do? What more can I do? But this is where it's going. They are gonna lose the lot, these bastards. They've run this country, mate, for 200 years. My communist bloody activist mates have been fighting them for at least 100. So we know who all these bastards are and all this shit that they're into, mate. We know all that, mate. Now, if you want to stop them, and listen, the military are going to do all the heavy lifting. They're going to come in. They are going to come, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know whether or not there's going to be a military intervention, ask an old communist. We are hardwired, mate. Hardwired for military. You know why? Because we are the first ones to get shot. Soon as the military, they pull all the communists out and they shoot us. Look at what Adolf Hitler did, mate, in the Third Reich in Germany, mate, in the 30s and coming, and they just shot all the communists and they executed them in the streets. Now, I'm not arguing the good or negativity of communism. I'm not doing that. I'm just simply saying we are hardwired, mate, for our own survival to know whether or not their military intervention is close. And I'm telling you, the circumstances that we are in right here and now in Australia, every single box is being ticked or has been ticked. That tells me we've got a military intervention. Laugh all you like, you other idiots. I don't care. I mean, that means nothing to me. But the military are going to come in and take it all off them. And they're going to spew, mate. These Freemasons are going to spew. They're going to say, you're taking all of our wealth, all of our power, all of our privilege. You're going to take it all off us. And there's nothing we can do because we're not in a Babylonian system. We're in a military system, right? The law of war manual. So they're gone. No, they ain't going to like that, mate. Useless eaters, idiots, getting all this wealth and all this, power and democracy and, all that. They're not going to tolerate that, mate. They're going to take it all back. As soon as that military, the next day, as soon as they leave, the Freemasons are going to regroup and they're going to take it all back. That is where you need your union, mate, ready to go, mate. One is to protect you now in the short term against this belligerent occupation. And we've got ways that we can do that, ways that we can do it, right, and fight back. I mean, Rick, I'm telling you now, mate, right now, I've got nearly 30,000 CFMEU members who are considering joining the Freedom Union. Now, $200 a head, mate, that's around about, I don't know, $6 million in membership fees. You get me? What can Como do with 30-odd thousand CFMEU knuckle draggers and $6 million in funding? I'll tell you what, the first thing I'll do, mate, is I'll start doing private prosecutions. That's the first thing, mate. Any cop, any judge, any parliament, any of them who do any shit, don't do their jobs, the very first thing the union will do will be to criminally prosecute them under the Crimes Act. It's not like the Crimes Act. It costs you money to go after them and to criminally go after them, right? Okay, but there's no cost. Even if they win, right, there's no cost. And if you've got a union that's got millions and millions of dollars where you've got the funding to do it, mate, you can bankrupt them instead of them bankrupting us. You know what they do to us when you go to court? You're trying to pay your mortgage and feed your kids. They bleed you dry. That's why people plead guilty. That's why they plead guilty. Cop the sentence. It's cheaper for them to do it, right? You get a union, mate, that's got multiple millions behind it, right? And a whole heap of people, mate, I'm telling you now, private prosecutions, mate, criminal prosecutions. Now, if we have a prosecutor that won't do their job to prosecute a crooked cop. Let's say we've got a crooked cop who's bashed. Look, we got two cops pulled up a Melbourne tradie a couple of weeks ago, done nothing in a 7-Eleven store. He had a ute and he had all this garden waste on it, etc., etc. The cop has come in after him, right? And I'm not going to go through the detail. It's going to come out, right? But they bashed him to death. They flogged this bloke and he died yesterday in a Melbourne hospital. They beat him to death over a traffic violation. Up here in Queensland, you think that's bad? Up here in Queensland, so far this year, they've shot and killed 9 people. 9 people so far. If you go back another 12 months, I don't know how, it's more than all other police forces in Australia combined. Oh, they're killing people everywhere up here, mate. Everywhere. Now, if we have a prosecutor that won't do their job, well, we'll criminally charge them and take them on. If we got a cop won't do their job, we'll criminally charge them. If we got a cop that's done a criminal act, we're going to criminally charge them. And we're going to have the funds and the legal and the firepower to do it. We're going to set up our own internal freedom of information, internal capability, just like in America. I've forgotten the organisation. I think it's called I've forgotten it, mate. But they've got a Judicial Watch. I think it's called. They've got an American equivalent. Do nothing else but go after information and force them to disclose things. And non-stop. We're going to set this capability up, right? So we're going to try and protect ourselves. We're going to try and protect our union members' assets, get them sorted, all that sort of stuff. Get them bank accounts, right, that they can't get into, and they can't just take money out of their bank accounts. We're setting all this up. But we're also going to go after them with tens of millions of dollars. Okay. The Freedom Union, mate, it's not going to be some pissant organisation. Now, if I'm talking bullshit and people don't want to support it, I accept that, Rick. I accept it. I'm going fishing. I'll just, there's nothing I can do. The reason why this country is fucked and in the position that it's in is that you don't listen. This country does not listen to ex-communists, right? You don't. Yuri Brezhnev, Comrade Yuri, tried to warn everybody in the 80s. He was interviewed for 6 or 8 hours. He laid it all out. This is how they're going to do it, when they're going to do it. These are all the tactics and all the rest of it, right? Laid it out. No one listened. 20, 30 years ago, Comrade Jeff McDonald wrote a book, Red Over Black, right, and tried to explain and tell everyone how they were going to try and take your sovereignty off you, all this sort of stuff, right? And 30 years, no one listened to him. 30 years later, we got the voice, all the rest of it. That's what they're doing, right? And now Comrade John's coming on as an ex-communist. I'm telling you, if you want to win, if you want to defend yourself and win, a union, this is how you do it. National strikes, get your muscle, financial, all that, and go after them, right? Now, I accept the fact that no one out there wants to listen to old communists. I get that. I get it, and I totally understand it. And if you don't, and you don't want to listen now, then fuck off. Fuck off and fend for yourself. I don't care. They ain't going to get at me. They're not going to get at me. They won't get at the experienced people who know what they're doing. They're going to get all those others out there. So if you don't want me, what I'm selling you, right, that's fine by me. I mean it. I'm not doing this because I want to bust my balls and go and build a union, mate. I mean, I've been there and done all this shit, mate. I've done it, right? Why the hell would I want to do it all again? So to all the audience out there, Rick, you're going to have about 30 days after I launch, and I need the first 1,000 members in. After that 30 days, I need them in. I need a startup budget of about $250,000 to get it started. Very first thing I'm going to do is set up a National Freedom Union broadcasting service right across the country. Right, you watch how big this is going to be. There's a lot of stuff. Now, if I get that 1,000 members in within 30 days, mate, this union is gonna rise. You watch it; it will build and rise. Now, if I don't, right, I'm just going to shut it all down, walk away from it. I'll just walk away from it, mate. If people don't want it, they don't want it. And I'm cool with that. I am not a nice person, Rick. People don't like me, and I don't fucking like a lot of them. I'm serious, Ricky. I'm serious. I've said this, mate. I hate so many people in this fucking country. I despise them, but I need them. I can't get my freedom without dragging these assholes with me. I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm fucked, and they're stuck with me. Now, either they're going to work with me and help me build this union. They're going to help me get this national strike really fired right up, right? Okay, and we're going to make this work. Now, if we do make it work, right, I'm telling you, this not only can it work, it will work. It's a fucking lamazere. They can't fight this one off. I'll lead you to victory. I don't want any fame, any of that bullshit, mate. I just want to be left alone. But I'll lead you to a good victory and show you how it's done, okay? Now, if you don't want that, that's understandable. You don't want an ugly old commo, blah, 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 all that shit. Yeah, I heard all that crap. If once again, if you're going to make the third time where you're not going to listen to old ex-com, then it's your problem. not mine. It's your problem. I'm telling you how to win this war. I'm telling you. And I'm telling you, if you don't get prepped, you're gonna be sitting back, mate, thinking, oh, you beauty, we've won everything else. Yeah, you watch. Since the military vacate, mate, the next fucking day, the Frios are going to be straight in there rebuilding it all. I mean, have a look at what they've already rebuilt. They've already built all of the alt media. They own it. The Freemasons own it all. Now, the only one I don't think they fully own is Aussie Cossack. I don't think they fully own him, but Cossack's in bed with them. He's in bed with them, mate. Now, listen, Rick, they have accused me, so that you understand where I'm coming from, mate. They've gone out to S. They've accused me of being a terrorist. I'm on a terrorist watch list. Now, I've got to be very careful here, Rick. But I just want you to know personally, friend, that if they're going to jail me, if they're going to start jail and persecuting me, mate, I'm immediately getting down to Sydney. I'm going to hit the Russian consulate, mate, and I'm going to seek political asylum inside the Russian consulate with the Aussie Cossack. I'm going to go in there with him. The big, fat, useless clown. You watch him. You fucking watch Como John, mate. I'll create an international incident. I've loved the Russians all my life, mate, and I love Vladimir Putin, mate. I am one of their loyal soldiers, mate. Let them try and throw me out and throw me to the dogs. We'll see about that, mate. We'll see about that. Vladimir Putin, mate, will personally fucking intervene on that one. So to the Aussie Cossack down there, you better start taking an interest in what's going on with Como John and the Freedom Union, because if you don't, I may be down there, mate, in the next bedroom next to you, mate. Hope you don't snore. So what we got, Rick, we got Hanson, we got Roberts, we got Babbage, Palmer, we've got, Clive Palmer, Gina Reinhardt, that other idiot, Craig. I mean, what a dead shit idiot this clown is, mate, Kelly. Fuck me dead. But you got all of them in a big coalition. That's the Freemasons. That's the Freemason. They've all locked in behind Malcolm Roberts and behind Pauline Hanson. They're it, mate. They are running interference and protection for the Freemasons. That's what's going on. That's what's going on, right? And they're on a promise. The Freemasons have given them a promise, and they're running. They're running cover, right? I mean, Roberts is going out saying, "Oh, there's no 28 pedophilia names, and it never got." I mean, come on, Malcolm, you clown. Whenever they hand up and they say, "I'm not going to accept them on the record," it doesn't mean they doesn't exist. You bullshit artist. I mean, that's playing. That's their legalistic bullshit again, mate. This is the garbage they carry on with, man. Fucking hell. They give a fucking Aspro a headache. Fucking bullshit artists. So the Freemasons have all coalesced now behind Pauline Hanson, Malcolm Roberts, Babbage, Clyde Palmer, Gina Reinhardt, and all the rest of them, mate, for protection. Protection. They know when it finally gets out what the Freemasons have been involved in and this mass murder, they know that they're not going to be able to walk the streets. They know they're in trouble, right? So they're going to do everything they can, mate, to lay off the blame. Malcolm Roberts, and I've been watching Malcolm, he's going to throw us a few bodies, right? He's going to say, righto, we can't save you. We'll throw you out and let the mob tear you to pieces, right? And this is what they do. This is what the Khazarians do with the Jews, you see. When everyone hates all the Jews, the Khazarians grab a few innocent Jews who done nothing to no one and throw them out and say, yeah, murder all them. We don't care. Long as they don't lose power. As long as the Babylonian system remains in place, you get me? That is what they've got to preserve, because that gives them their power. Okay, this Babylonian bullshit system that we all live under, this Roman fucking law and Roman fucking factional system. That's what keeps them in power. And Pauline's job and Malcolm's job and Babbage and all their job is to protect the system at all cost. You got to remember. In Rome, you had the emperor, the Roman emperor and all that. But around the Roman emperor, mate, you had the Praetorian Guard. The Praetorian Guard, right, protects the Roman Emperor. They were supposed to stop upheaval and all, because assassination attempts, bad for business, bad for trade in Rome and all through the Mediterranean. So at first their job was to protect, but they ended up running Rome because no one could go and see them. They ended up becoming the spokesman for Rome, right? And right now, Pauline Hanson, Babbage, and all the rest of them, mate, that's your Praetorian Guard, mate. That's your Praetorian Guard. And the Freemasons are backing them up to the fucking hilt. I mean, Malcolm Roberts has no problem going to Buona. None. Going to Buona, going to the same pub, everything. Doing all the political shit in the world and say what he likes. But the moment Commo John comes in, mate, oh, no. We can't have that. That's a problem. That's a problem. I mean, it stands out, mate. It's so obvious, Rick. It's a problem. Now, Rick, as I said, I've laid a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort. Not just me. It's the team members around me, mate. I've got some great team members there, and they've really sacrificed here. Right now, we've set it all up. I'm a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks away from launching the Freedom Union, making Australia great again. Okay. Now, I'm going to give it 30 days. 30 days. You've got 30 days, ladies and gentlemen. You get in and join. If I can get 1,000 members there, and that gives me a startup budget of about $250,000. Okay. Now, that will allow me to make it all work, because then I've got about 30,000 CFMEU members that I can go and get on block, right, and bring them across. They know the CFMEU's finished, mate. All these real knuckle-dragging rock apes, right, know that the CFMEU is gone. It's gone, okay? So I'm going to offer them an alternative. They're never, ever are they going to support and join, ever, Pauline Hanson, One Nation and the Freemasons. They will never, ever do it. But they will come with an old ex-com. They know me, mate. I'm one of theirs, and they know it. They know it. So I've got about 30,000 there, mate, that I'm talking to, maybe more. It could go up to 50. That gives me, I don't know, 10 million in terms of operating budget. That's per annum, okay? And that gives me a lot of financial firepower. I've managed all this big money before, mate. I mean, all these other kooks out there in this freedom movement, mate, you can't even give them a bucket of dollar coins, mate. They'll steal it. I mean, this is how grubby they are. I mean, dollar coins, they just rob it, mate. I mean, I'll remind everyone out there, Rick, me and 6 other communists, mate, we were the one. We set up all these industry super funds, which are right now, worth $500 billion. $500 billion, mate. That's what we built. We don't steal dollar coins, mate. We don't. We built billions and trillions of dollars. We don't steal anything. We'll steal that. We're not going to steal dollar coins and all the other bull. It's nothing to us, mate. Nothing, right? So I've handled big money before. I've built big financial empires before. Done all this, right? I can be trusted with the money. I can be trusted with the mission, right? Okay. I'm going to be honest and open with people, right? All that stuff. I mean, there's nothing for me to lose here, right? All I'd ask, if I do go to jail, if they jail me or any of that stuff, if I could ask for people out there to please do what they can to look after my little Jack Russell dog, Trumpy, because I don't want him, suffering hardship for any decisions that I make, and he lives with me on my boat. So with those people out there, mate, if you can look after me little Jack Russell, Trumpy, will help me out while I do a couple of years in jail. But Rick, I'm ready to go to jail. I'm ready. I can't live with this shit anymore. I can't live with this 2 realities anymore. I can't choke it down. My own sanity tells me I can't do this, mate. I'm telling you. I've got many friends of mine out there, mate. So far, I'm up to about 22 of my friends whose marriages have collapsed by trying to operate in these 2 realities, right? One's in this reality, the other one's in this reality, and it's just imploding, mate. Over 20 marriages And in some cases, I've got a military friend of mine, loved his beautiful, and I'm caught in the fucking middle of this, mind you. You know what I mean? As it happens, because I'm friends with both of them. And I love both of these people. But I've got over 20 people, mate, whose marriages are collapsing. We're seeing suicides. We're seeing lots and lots of hardship out there. People can't cop it anymore. Now, I'm telling you all out there, if you want to do something, right, this is your choice. I don't know whether you know this, right? You need me in this war doing this. You need me in this war and this freedom union and the team I've got in the war doing this. You need it. Without it, you're fucked. That's the facts of it, darling. To everyone out there, you're fucked, right? I don't want to be doing it because a lot of yous out there I don't even like. But I can't get what I need, my freedom, my sovereignty. I can't get it unless I drag every one of you bloody pissheads with me. So you got to come for the journey, guys. You got to come. Now, if you do come, I promise you, one, I can deliver. I can deliver everything I say I can do. I can tell you there'll be no stealing, thieving, or any of this shit going on with your money. I will not squander your support. I won't sell it out. I won't squander it. I will weaponize it and take them on, mate. And I'm a fierce warrior. So I'm asking everyone out there, see your way clear, put aside any of these silly little side issue arguments, stop all the bullshit and the talk, mate. You only have two choices to make. There is no other. There is no middle ground. You've got Hanson, Babbage, Roberts, One Nation, Palmer, Reinhardt, all of the Freemasons on that side, okay? Forget about Liberal and Labor and Green. They're gone. They will not survive this. Forget it, right? But they are going to have it all taken off them. But they're going to sit and wait, reorganise, and the day the military leave, they're going to come in and they're going to get it all back. You watch them. That's their game plan. Well, how would Commo John know that? Because that's what an old communist would do. That's how I'd do it. I'd do it that way. It's a winner. If you have an ignorant, and all you've got to do, ladies and gentlemen, mate, is keep the population ignorant. Keep them confused. Keep them disorientated. That's all you've got to do while the military's here, and you keep holding yourself out as the solution. You keep holding yourself out and saying, oh, problem, reaction, solution. You see? But they need chaos to set it right off. And if we don't get this freedom movement up, mate, they're going to get the chaos. They are going to get the chaos. We are going to need the military to keep people in line. Because, we've been utterly infiltrated, Rick. And look, I want to talk just about these secret societies. The Freemasons aren't the only game in town. They're not the only game in town, Rick. Now, we know the Freemasons own the courts and the cops and the councils and all of the rest of it. But then we got the Zionists, right? Another dirty, filthy, satanic mob, right? Now, the Zionists own all the parliamentary stuff, right? Okay. All the Liberal Party, Labor Party, they're all fucking Zionists. Labor Party. Then you got the Fabians, right? The Fabians own all the unions. I mean, John Setka and all these idiots down in Melbourne, mate, CFMEU people, Michael Radbar, they're all Fabians, right? So these secret societies is not just the Freemasons. You've got the Freemasons, the Zionists, the Fabians are out there. And then you used to have us, the old communists. So I'm telling you, Rick, the Freemasons are not the only game in town, and they're gonna link up with the Fabians and with the Zionists, and they're going to take it all back. And the Australian population, I think, are going to give it to them without an argument. They're going to hand it all over. The only protection we've got, Rick, is a really well-educated, savvy public. That's the only protection. And unless you do, nothing else works. Nothing else works. Now, I can hold the blowtorch right onto their feet all the way through this, Rick. But I can't do that on my own, mate. I can't do it. I need this union. I need this support. I need the financial muscle, everything that goes with it, right? And if I don't get it, I can't help. I'm going fishing. I'm going fishing, mate. And if anyone comes near me from that moment on asking for my help, they'll go straight in the crab pot, mate, and I'll throw them over the side. No, you got one chance, mate, with me, one chance with this union. If you want to make it work, if you want to protect your country, listen, Rick, we know we've lost our sovereignty. We know that, right? We know that our sovereignty has been usurped. Let's not get into all the detail and the bullshit, right? But we know it's been usurped, right? Okay. Now, the Chinese know it's been usurped. The Americans know it's been usurped, right? All the corporate abos in this country know it's been usurped, right? The only people who don't is all the population, the 26 million. They don't know that they don't have a country. They've lost it. It's gone. It's been usurped, right? Now, if we don't get our shit together, mate, if we don't get it, we're going to lose a lot. We'll end up losing the fucking lot. I'm serious. When you don't have sovereignty, mate, you know, we got to get this sovereignty back, and we got to get this belligerent occupation out, ASAP, real quick. We got to show the military we're ready. We're ready. That's what we got to do. And the moment we get rid of them, the military come in where we can get the law of war and go through and clean this place up, then we got to be ready to step in to every pub. One, we got to outlaw Freemasonry. We're going to outlaw Freemasonry and all secret societies, not just Freemasonry. We're going to outlaw Freemasonry, Zionism, communism, not Fabians. We're going to outlaw them. You try and engage in any of that secret society shit, you swear an oath against our constitution, we jail you for life. Jail you for life. That's it. You're gone. You're gone. And we have the technological means to monitor every one of them. We can crawl up their ass with a microscope and we know you can't hide this shit anymore, right? It's just that all the surveillance is turned on to us by them. We got to take it off them and point it back at them and surveil them. No more secret societies, mate. We're going to outlaw them permanently, mate, permanently, okay? Secret societies and this shit, mate, destroy nations. They destroy them, mate. And the Khazarian Jews, mate, and I want to make this point to all these people out there. Ladies and gentlemen, mate, the Jews have been infiltrated just as much as we have, mate. The Jews, the ordinary Torah-worshipping Jews, have been infiltrated just as much as we have, right? And they've been sucked in and used and all the rest of it, mate, the same as we have. To all you people that hate Jews and everything else, I mean, get the fuck away from me. I'm not interested in listening to you. If you're not going to point to these Talmud worshipping evil satanic freaks, right? These fucking lizards, whoever they are, reptiles. I don't know what the hell these monsters are, mate. Okay, and let's get that clear, because that's who the enemy is. That's who the enemy really is, mate. These central bankers, mate. The ordinary Jews, mate. I'm telling you now, mate, and I've known a lot of them in my life because I was in the communists, mate. The communists had a lot of Jews, right? Okay. And man, oh man, they weren't baby raping. They never, in all the weekend away studies and everything, mate, all of it, mate, in all my involvement, I've never heard of remotely, even an allegation of any child inside the communists ever being sexually interfered with, ever, right? But all at the same time, and all the Catholic group scouts, all the Girl Guides, Boy Scouts, all that shit, mate, it was on all, we knew all this, but none of it happened in our fucking families. None of it, right? So I'm just telling you, you know, the old school generation I grew up with, mate. I mean, Laurie Aarons Laurie Aarons, when the head of ASIO retired, I've forgotten his name now, but he was the head of ASIO for 20 years. But he had Laurie Aarons, the General Secretary of the Communist Party of Australia, under 24 hours surveillance for 20 years. And when he retired, he done interviews. And I remember reading these interviews. I can't find them on the net anymore. But when he retired, he made public statements about Laurie Aarons and said Laurie Aarons never betrayed Australia ever. He never betrayed, ever. Did he go out and rat this country out and try and sell it out and backstab it and betray our sovereignty or any of that? Ever. He strongly believed in things that I didn't believe in and other people didn't. Or, this is what Asio was saying. But he never betrayed this country. And they did not rape children, right? The Frios, the Zionists, the Fabians, and all these other secret societies are right into that shit, mate. Right into it. And we've got to squash them. We've got to squash them and rid our nation of it, or we're going to lose it again, mate. Our grandkids are going to be back in 30 or 40 years, mate, in exactly the same war. Exactly the same war if we do not let this, if we don't pick our game. Rick, questions, brother? Give me a question.
Oh, actually, what I'd like to do is just a couple of comments on what you've been saying, because you've covered, as usual, the whole gamut, which is brilliant. But just a couple of points for the listeners at home. First up, you're right about the that split in the Masonic filth and the rest of the secret societies, and I've only got one phrase to use for them: Rico, racketeer, influenced, corrupt organisations. You're all going down, ladies and gentlemen. They are all going down. They are. What's left of them? Yeah, go on.
Look, Rick, let me just, I know you know this is for your audience and the audience out there, brother. Look, under RICO, right, okay, the moment they establish a chain of command, right, a chain of command, right, the moment they have cross-border crimes, so it's in there and it goes to Queensland, New South Wales, blah, blah, blah. The moment they can establish that it's like a syndicate, right, okay, that means, right, is that whatever crime's been committed, they charge and convict the entire line of command. So it doesn't matter whether or not some private within the let's say a 5th degree Mason, right, he does some crime, right, okay, they'll charge him right up to the 33rd degree because it's chain of command. This guy has been part of a organisational criminal group. They're finished, mate. The same as the cops. All they got to do is say in Victoria, mate, they go down Victoria, they say, we are going to declare, this is the military under law of war. And, I don't talk like a lawyer, Rick. I'm just talking like the common man. They go down and they say, right, the Victorian police is a crime syndicate. Now, as soon as they declare that, it's a crime syndicate using those qualifiers that I've just told you: chain of command, cross-border, more than one crime. It's a series of crimes, right? This sort of stuff, right? As soon as they establish that, Rick, that's it. That's it, brother. Every single one inside of the Victorian cops, as an example, the entire lot of them are gone. They can all get charged and convicted under the RICO laws with that crime. Man, oh man, look, Rick, I want to talk about the unions, right? Look, the CFMEU, Setka, and all the other grubs, mate, up here in Queensland, etc. Look, I hold no malice towards Mick Gatto and the organised criminals. I don't hold any malice to any of those organised crime figures, right? They do what they're supposed to do. I mean, they're fucking criminals. They're criminals, Rick. And that's what they do, right? The problem I have is with the betrayal. It's the people who held the office in the union who betrayed their members. The John Setkas and his executive, and all that is the problem. Look, I know that the Mick Gattos and all these other organs, they're just going to get some big American or British or Australian digger who's just going to stick a dirty great big AR-15 up their ass and say, move, and I'm going to disembowel you. I don't have to worry about that, Rick. I'm not at least bit worried about them. They're all going to get taken care of. I don't have to worry about that. My beef and my bitch is with those people who held the safety in trust, the finances and safety and goodwill and all that in trust in the unions, and who betrayed it. They betrayed him. It's the John Setkas and all of these dog mates in the executive down there. They're the ones I'm angry with. I'm really furious. I'm not the least bit angry with Gatto or any of them criminals, mate, because I know what's coming. I know what's coming to them, mate. They're history. They are fucking history. And they'll squeal like a fax machine, mate. So I'm not worried about it. Mick Gatto never betrayed me, never betrayed any CFMEU member. He went in and creamed off millions and set himself up and all the rest of it, the same as the bike groups, right? But that's who they are. I mean, they're scorpions. I mean, the fact that the CFMEU give them a ride across the river and got stung by the scorpions, I mean, the CFMEU should have known that, you see. So it's the union office holders who have done the betraying here, mate. They are the ones that I want to make sure see swinging off a bit of hemp rope. The rest of the organised, I don't care. I don't care. I know what's coming for them, mate. It ain't going to be pretty for them. But that's not for me to be concerned about, mate. There's military people are going to take them out. Big problem for this group.
Next thing I'd like to talk about is what you said, just to reinforce the stupidity of the Masons now and other secret societies. And just for the viewers, the Masons have had a free ride, doors open for them because through membership, not merit. That's like having being a boxer and constantly having your manager select opponents that you know that you can win. They've never gone up against anybody hard, ever. So they're a bunch of soft cocks, to put it in the Australian vernacular. Yeah. They've never had a fight. Yeah. That's why people like John terrify them, because John can stand there on his own 2 feet and fight and defend himself and beat to them. So they're actually quite soft. And I'm talking about, you know, some of the senior military people, senior police. They're soft as marshmallows. They really are. And then actually, because they're not used to a fight, they say and do stupid things like charging John as a potential terrorist. Give me a break. If they were so stupid as to attempt to arrest John, Australia will light up. They will, but not in a violent way, because we're too smart for that. We're too disciplined for that. As John said, they've been trying to provoke us for years, and at every opportunity, we have said and acted in a peaceful manner. We eschew violence. That's not our gig. John said it. I've said it 100,000 times. There's plenty of evidence, right?
And they don't need to.
And they don't need to. But if John, if they came after you, mate, Hyde Park would be chock-a-block with peaceful protesters saying, you better let the guy go. You won't have to go to the Russian consulate with the Aussie Cossack. Peaceful non-compliance is what we've said from the get-go, from the very beginning. But that's just the incompetence and stupidity of the Masons. That's just that point I wanted to make, because they are, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to understand, you must remember this. As John said, you know, the cops are fully owned. But here's the thing, you don't have to answer questions. You just don't have to answer questions. At any point, are you required to answer a question? You say, I don't answer questions. And they say, why is that? And then you reply with, I don't answer questions. Is there someone inside that can answer questions? I don't answer questions. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not required to say a word. Now, you can if you want to, but you are not required to. Not Rick, at all. Anyway, just...
Look, the Freemasons, Rick, look, the Freemasons, right? You're right. They are very soft. Look, you've got to understand, Rick, the communists built Australia. We built this country. We did, right? Okay. All the unions, mate, 80% of them were communist, right? The only big one that was not a communist was the Australian Workers' Union, which was a Freemasonic union along with the Knights of Malta. I mean, the National Secretary, Terry Muscat, in Redfern in Sydney, was a good friend of mine, right? He was an older Knight of Malta, and I was an old communist, right? You should have seen the beers that we used to have together. Okay. But we built, mate, we've done nothing but fight wars, mate. That's what we do. We are battle hardened, mate. Every day we'd be out there fighting and defying and taking on the institutions, right? Okay. They do nothing. They've been just creaming off. They're not fit. They're not tough. They don't have, you know, they are just manipulators. That's it. And once they lose their media, their parliamentary, their policing, once this stuff starts to desert them, right? Okay, they can't get out and organise on the ground. They can't. There's not a good fight left in them. Then they panic. You see, you can throw a lot of shit at me, Rick. I'm telling you. I mean, I don't say this lightly, Rick. I mean, but you can jail me. It's not going to face me. I've done 5.5 years in the worst institution in this country, Westbrook Farm for the boys, mate. It was horrific. And I ran it. I ran the lot of it. Okay. I ran all the tobacco, all the money, all the violence, everything I ran. Okay. That's what old communists do. I was a teenager. So they can put me in a supermax, mate. You give me 3 months, I'll have them. I will set the whole place on fire and burn it to the ground. That's what will happen. You put me in with supermax prisoners, mate. You watch how I'll get them on my side and educate them who the real enemy is, mate. They will go ballistic. Look, Rick, I'm almost praying they do lock me up, because it's going to be a lot safer for me. It's going to be a lot safer for me inside of a supermax prison than it's going to be for these bastards walking down the street, mate. I'm serious, man. I'm serious. I mean, if I go to prison, the only thing I worry about is I've got my dog. I've got a little Jack Russell dog, and I love this guy, mate. Both of us faced the floods and nearly died, and we're the best of mates. If people can just help and make sure that he doesn't get injured or hurt or starved or whatever. But I'm telling you, if they go and jail me for 2 or 3, I'm not going to be the least bit worried, mate. I'm not. I'm more worried now, Rick, about being arrested and taken into a police station and these places and getting knocked. And they'll kill me. There's a lot at stake, mate. There's a lot at stake. We have a $1 trillion a year economy here in Australia. $1 trillion. Do you think they want to hand that back over to a bunch of bogans like us? No. And they know that most of them are never going to walk the streets again because of their crimes. They know that, right? So if they can get me into a police station somewhere or somewhere where, there's the witness. I mean, they just killed this young tradie down in Melbourne. Like a traffic offence. They just bashed him to death. And they'll get away with it. The Freemasons lie and protect and all that. They will get away with it, brother. Okay? So I genuinely now, I fear for my life. I'm not scared, but I'm just letting you know, Rick, that if they get the opportunity to knock me, they'll fucking do it. Don't you worry about that. And they better understand. They better understand this, Rick, is that if they want to knock me, they better get to me and knock me fucking quick. Because when I get to them, right, okay, not me, the military tribunals and that, it's they themselves who are going to be in the noose, not me, okay? I'm not at war with them, Rick. I'm not. I don't need to fire one single fucking shot, and I'm not. I'm not at war. It's them. I just want them to leave us alone, right? While the military, they can conduct their war with with this, with Trump's global military alliance. They can let them go, but don't come and murder us. Don't come and try and rob us. Don't come and try and destroy us. And when we want to have freedom of movement to go to Buona and these places, don't try and interfere with our freedom of movement, right? All this sort of stuff, Rick. I mean, I know they're finished. You've been saying this now for a couple of years. I've been saying they're gone. They can't stop what's coming, right? All I want is safety of body and mind and assets and stuff like that, and let them get dealt with, right, as they should, right? Now that's that. But after reset, whoever's left standing after reset, a lot of them won't be, but there's going to be some. They're going to want it all back. They're going to want it all back. And if we don't have a union there, mate, to take them on, they're going to get it. They're going to get it, Rick.
Yep. No. And just on that point, I tell you, the timing couldn't be better, John, because I said some time ago, years ago, to use that same phrase you used just before, that politically there's only going to be one game in town, that's Australia 1. Now, the timing between you and us is just exquisite, because we're coming around one flank, you're coming around the other flank, and we're going to encircle this adversary of ours. Not only at the moment, but as you importantly say, after the takedown, after the military does its cleanup, you've got those people that would never join a political organisation, love it, not a problem. Go see John. Those that have never joined a union, love it, come and see us. But between the two of us, and John and I don't see eye to eye on everything. We've got some disagreements, and I like that, because steel sharpens steel.
Yeah.
Nobody's got the whole answer. And we're not joined at the hip in any way organisationally. No. But I can just see a future Australia where you've got a strong union, you've got a strong polity, and they're both based on morality and good people doing good things for others. And between the two of us, I think we can beat this country into shape, John. I think we are in a great place. We really are. It's interesting because you said, you look at 50,000 members. Our projections are that once we open for membership, we're going to have initially at least that same number. And so between the two of us, we're going to have two powerful organisations, well-financed, well-trained, well-equipped, and we're building one like you're building your organisation. We've got very smart people getting ready to study, read, and learn how to actually govern this country after the filth has gone. That's a tough job, as you know. This is not something you can just dream up tomorrow. And so we're preparing, you're preparing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the best time to be alive in Oz. It really is. You've got a political option, you've got a union option, and between the two of us, we'll crush the bad guys and make sure those weeds never raise their head above the soil ever again. So, I mean, we're just, this is brilliant, John, and it's great to have you on board on your side. And as people know, we talk about this attack on converging axes. I'm coming up the political side, John's coming up the union side. We're both aiming for that top of the hill. And we'll help each other out, but understand that we are two separate organisations.
Absolutely.
But we have a lot in common. And what we agree wholeheartedly on is that we want a free and fair Australia, and the bastards can go to hell.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Look, Rick. I just say this. People have asked me my relationship. I said, look, guys. I mean, what the fuck could some lieutenant colonel fucking teach me about strike and unions? I mean, go away. He can't help me. He can't. I mean, and then I say to them, what the fuck can I teach him about stripping down an AR-15, putting back together? I said, I can't. He doesn't need me. I don't need him. But at the same time, we both need each other. And at the same time, both of us need all of yous in Australia. We all need each other. It's not a question of I mean, it's our relationship, Rick, really is founded upon principle and a common sense of purpose, and that's it. Yeah. And I respect that. And last thing, Rick, and I'm not going to look, Rick, I've only been a Christian now for a couple of years, right? And I'm genuine when I say that, right? I'm not a good one. I haven't got to the forgiveness part yet, mate. There's still a lot of people I hate, and I can't forgive them. Right? Okay, so I'm a bad Christian. Right? But listen, Rick, I am taught by my mentors. I've got some, guys that are good, decent guys, mate, and they get around me and they say, John, if you don't ever betray another Christian. Don't ever stab him in the back and betray him. That's not, if you get another Christian, mate, you have to back him up. Now, I'm telling you, Rick, you're a brother Christian, and I'm not going to fucking rat you out. I'm not going to fucking stab in the back and all that shit that you've had a conga line of these bastards to. Well, I'll never do that, mate. One, old communist had honour, and two, Christians, mate, real Christians don't do that shit. And it wouldn't matter whether it's you or another Christian, a man or woman or any other Christian, mate. I am not going to look the other way while they get thrown under a bus. I'm not doing it, Rick. I'm not a fair weather friend. I hate them bastards, right? So I'm telling you, Rick, mate, we and you and me have got God on our side, mate. They're fucked. They can't do it, mate. They're gone. I wish I knew God when I was a communist, mate. I would have taken over the whole fucking world. I would have been number one dictator. Okay, brother, that's the end of my report.
That's a good place to finish, John. It's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for everything, ladies and gentlemen. Listen again to this broadcast. It's just. This is the way we are going to be moving ahead. Choose a side, move forward, act with honour, act with integrity, do the right thing. That's what Australia's always been about. We've got Como John with us on one side of the hill, we're on the other. Choose one of us. Either one makes no difference to us. We're going to be standing on the top of that hill, shaking hands. So Thanks very much for joining us tonight. For those of you who missed last night's green room, we addressed those questions of sovereignty that John was alluding to. Have another look at that. If you haven't seen it, make sure you share it, because the nonsense that the security agents are throwing at people, sovereign citizen, we addressed it all last night on the green room. So have another look at that if you haven't seen it. My name's Ricardo Bozzi, National Leader Australia 1. Thanks for your time. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Rick.